Hey, this is Linus. What's up? I have the Xiaomi Redmi Pro and it's a pretty good phone. It also has two cameras and they take pretty good pictures. Stay tuned for a full camera review. Xiaomi has been on a roll as they release quite a few devices lately. The Redmi Pro is a phone that costs around $250 via the third-party resellers. It has some pretty good specs, but most importantly, the device has dual camera setup. The main camera has 13 megapixels, face detection autofocus, and a secondary has 5 megapixels. Also, there is a dual-tone dual LED flash. Well, we've seen similar setups before, but let's take a look at what we have here. The dual camera mode, which is called the stereo mode, is simply activated by clicking a small camera button. Here you can play with the aperture number by going all the way to 5.6, or you can go down to a super bright 0.95. Also, you can change the focus area after you take the picture and apply different effects. If you spend a little bit of time with the camera, you can get some nice photos. Of course, not all the pictures will look natural, but you can definitely achieve some nice looking results. A very cool thing is that you can also adjust the aperture number during the video recording to get that shallow depth of field effect. If you tend to take regular photos more often, the auto mode allows you to do that pretty fast, and that is thanks to the baked-in face detection autofocus system. The camera takes some pretty good images in daylight. The pictures tend to have a good amount of detail and sharpness. Also, the colors look natural. However, a few of the shots have a softer focus on the corners, but we have to consider that the phone runs on an early software build. My biggest complaint would be that dynamic range adjustment is not always perfect, but the HDR mode does a pretty good job solving this issue. The macro shots have a good amount of detail and they look sharp most of the time. As for indoor photos, you can get some good looking images too. Sure, they will look grainier, but the camera does an okay job with noise reduction. The low-light camera performance is not bad, but it is not great either. There is quite a bit of noise and there could be more detail. Also, I noticed that there is a slight red tint if you take pictures close to their light source, for example street lamps. The dual-tone dual LED flash does a pretty good job illuminating the scene in almost pitch-dark environments, but the flash is a little bit too warm for my taste. There are some other camera modes. Just to name a few, you can adjust some settings in the manual mode if you feel creative, or take panoramic pictures. Speaking of panoramas, they look quite terrible due to very low resolution pictures. Alright, so currently I'm shooting with the Xiaomi Redmi Pro. I'm shooting at 1080p. This is the maximum resolution this phone can shoot. And this is handheld footage. I'm trying to hold the phone as steady as possible as usual. The phone can shoot videos in Full HD. The video quality is just above average, I would say. The footage could look sharper and have more detail. On the other hand, I'm happy with the way continuous autofocus works. You can also shoot slow motion videos in 720p, and the quality is actually not the best, but it is pretty good for the class of the phone. A 5-megapixel selfie camera is able to capture some usable pictures for social media, but it does not impress in general. Most of the images look noisy and grainy, and there is a ton of noise. The situation gets even worse in low light. As for selfie videos, the quality of footage is mediocre, as you may have already guessed. Alright, so you have the idea of what the Redmi Pro is capable of in terms of its cameras. My opinion is that the Redmi Pro is a pretty solid camera phone for the price. The device shines in daylight, takes good indoor and macro shots, and you can achieve some great results with the dual camera setup. Keep in mind that the phone is just released and we may see some improvements with the future software updates that could improve the low light performance, dynamic range adjustment, the video quality, and the selfie image quality. was Linus, thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, please drop me a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you in the next video soon.